Hi, this is Melody, and I'm here at Kingdom Sewing and Vacuum in Simi Valley, California. And today, our Kimberbell Club is going to be doing the Flamingo, it's called the Flamingo Beauties Bench Buddy, but we've decided to actually do it on the gray and white buffalo check bag so that you can take that, our cute little flamingos, anywhere you go. So with that, I have put my 8-inch hoop on the machine. I've loaded it with no-show mesh stabilizer, and I have temporarily pinned my bag to the hoop approximately an inch down from the top of the bag so that our design doesn't go over the seam. And I have also loaded the design on our Solaris machine, along with loading a temporary tack down stitch, just so that the bag gets tacked down to our stabilizer and the bag doesn't move while we're sewing. So with that, let's go ahead and get started.
Did the tack stitch, is that built in, or you have to add that?
I actually have to add that with the Solaris, the Destiny. With those two machines, there's a built-in, and that's a good question, Tim. Let's go ahead and do that again. So if I go back, let me just return, and we will delete. And I'll bring back in our design. Now this design does come in a 5x7 as well, but when you're using your 5x7 hoop, you're going to do the flamingos first and then the words, and you'll also be embroidering those out sideways because you need the 7-inch length to be able to get your 3 flamingos onto your design page. So with that, here it is. I'm going to go ahead and load it. Notice that there's no box around our design right now. So if I go to layout and I press the little box with the daisy in the center, it automatically puts a basting stitch around our design. So now with that, we're just going to lower the foot and put our basting stitch down. And this is probably a 5mm basting stitch. It's really easy to pull out when you need to. If you wanted to actually hoop your bag, then this step wouldn't have been necessary. I'm actually floating the bag on top of my stabilizer. So the next step we're going to do is we are going to go ahead, and I'm just going to move to this one. I liked this particular feature because I can see exactly what the next stitch is going to be. So the next stitch is we're going to actually do the placement for our flamingo heads. Sure. Now in this month's kit from the store, we gave you the buffalo check bag and the some of the fabric, but one of the things that you also received in your kit was this beautiful pink glitter heat press vinyl from Kimberbell. So I went ahead so that it doesn't take as much time. Last night I actually cut out the flamingo heads on my silhouette cutter, but you could easily lay your glitter fabric down. Make sure that you peel off the carrier sheet, and then you're going to just cut around it after it sews it down. But in this case, I've gone ahead and cut these out. So I'm going to take this off of the machine real quick and take it over to my iron that I have over here. And just tack this down just a little bit. That way you don't have to sit there and watch me actually cut these little guys out. Okay, so there we go. We are cut out and we are ready to put it back onto the machine. Okay. At this point you can change your thread to a actual tone on tone, or you can leave your thread a slightly darker or lighter hue for the flamingos. Okay, so next we are going to actually do the legs and the inside of the beak. stitch that they're going to do right now around just this one flamingo's body is where we're going to put the buttons. It's just a stitch so we know how far out to put our buttons. The rest of the flamingos won't get a stitch line. Now, of course, if you wanted to have your beaks a lighter pink, but your legs a darker pink, we could have done a stop and then just change colors there. There isn't a stop in the design, though. Commercial. So thanks, Tim. So next month for our October class, we're actually going to be doing these really cute pumpkins that are either a candle wrap or a jar wrap. They're adorable. This is the large. This one here probably wasn't my best choice to put it on a orange can, but this one here is the medium size. Also included in your kit was your pull flowers. Now this month we're going to actually be using the hot pink pull flowers, but we need you, if you're in our Kimberbell club here in the Simi Valley store, you need to make sure that you reserve the rest of the pull flowers, because for our November autumn bench buddy, we're going to be using one of the other colors for that particular event. So make sure that you hold on to your pull flowers. Okay, we're going to do a quick thread change to black. Let me just get this one snipped. Going to have to vacuum your floor for you, Tim. Okay. It's sewing the little black piece of the beak on each one of the flamingos right now. And his little eye, or her. I guess since she's pink, let's go with her. Now it does tell you after this particular one, this particular stitch has been finished stitching, you want to take it over to your iron and just do a quick press over your heat press vinyl, which I've already done when I laid them down originally. So I'm not going to stop to do that, but that's where you guys would actually stop. If you've hand cut your vinyl, then you're going to want to just do a little heat press just to make sure everything's good. Make sure though when you do your heat press that you lay a piece of either a piece of your Teflon sheet or the carrier sheet that came with the heat press vinyl. So now what's going to happen is I'm going to change my color again back to a pink, and this time I think I'm going to go with this color pink. This is a great design to get all of your pinks out of your thread box and test them out to see what colors you like the best. Okay, now it's going to actually do the first body of where we're going to do our chenille. And his little tail feathers actually start out quite a ways. Whoa.
Thread the top.
Here, I'm going to re-thread it. And we're just going to back up our stitches to the beginning of this. Not a problem. The machine's sitting at a slight angle for the camera, so I may not have gotten it over the tension bar up there when we rethread it. Okay, so in your kit, you received 4 pieces that were already pre-cut of this pink material. You're going to take 3 pieces and set them aside, and take 1 piece right now and lay it down on top of the placement line and go ahead and stitch around it. Once that's done on a flat surface, you're going to take off your hoop very carefully, and you are going to cut around this design. I'm using the small duckbill scissors. I love them. You can get them here at Kingdom. They are absolutely wonderful scissors. If you don't already have them in your sewing stuff, I highly recommend them. Okay. Put your hoop back on your machine. Also, if you're planning on doing this like we are on a bag, always make sure that the handle of the bag has not gotten caught underneath the underneath your hoop as you're taking your hoop on and off. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do a decorative stitch around just this particular flamingo's body here. you have a black bobbin? A black bobbin? Okay, once that's done, the next thing it's going to do is the wing of this particular flamingo, and it's going to come up here, and again you can change your pink to a different color pink. I'm leaving it with this color pink because it's different from the pink that I used for the flamingo's legs. So we're going to use, it's like a bubblegum pink. This is also the only flamingo that actually gets a wing. Our center flamingo is going to have the pull flowers on it, and our last flamingo will have buttons put on it. Next is the magic stitch. You're going to take your 3 pieces of fabric, lay them right side up, one on top of the other, and lay all 3 pieces on top of our design right here. It's going to do an actual basting stitch around the outside, and then it's going to do our, it actually is doing our lines first, and then it will do a basting stitch around the outside so that you know where to cut the actual 3 layers, and then we're going to actually take those basting stitches out. We are getting close to being done with the actual sewing part. Once this flamingo is done, we're going to put on the words, and then we'll show you how to do the chenille. And now it's doing that basting stitch I was just talking about around the outside. Okay, again we're going to pull our hoop off of the machine so that we can, I'm going to go ahead and just lay this down. I'm going to change my thread to black bobbin thread. Thank you. Because we're doing some very thin stitches for the words, and just in case, you know, it pulls up our bobbin thread as we're trying to do this. So, and of course they recommend in the pattern that we're using black, but there are no thread police, so if you want to do it in a different color, you are more than welcome to try a different color. Okay. Now I didn't cut the chenille yet. I thought we'd do that after we finish the words. Okay, so we're just going to do the words real quick. This is only a 13-minute design, but it does take a while to do all the cutting around the flamingo heads and the chenille body. So while this is sewing out, why don't we talk about the pull flowers? So we're going to use, I'm just going to pull my pull flowers out of here. And I'm going to take just the pink, these pink, hot pink ones in the very center off of here. Easier said than done, I know. And I'm going to set the rest of them aside. And this is what the pull flowers look like. I'm just taking the little packing tape off of it. And notice at the two ends, one end you have a knot, and one end it's loose. So to do the pull flowers, it's really simple. You just start at the knot on the pull side, not the knotted side, and you just pull them, and they just pull into a flower. And then you're going to sit there and you're going to, you know, play around with it a little bit to make it how you want it to look on your project. And then you're just going to hand sew it down. And you can actually hand sew it down. You could put a needle onto this end and actually just hand sew it down with the thread that came with it. Now, if this is too much, you can actually pull it back. Let me just keep pulling. And start over again and find out how much of the pull flower you actually want to use on your project. If you accidentally pull from the wrong end and you start at the knotted end and you pull the thread completely out, it really isn't a big deal. Just get a needle and thread and just re-thread every so often. See how large those stitches are? It's really like a gathering stitch, so you'll be able to put it back together without a problem. So in case you just want it maybe half the flower, let's just, while this is still working, let's just take this like this, and I'll take my little piece of tape so I know where to stop. And let's say you just wanted a flower that was basically this big on your flamingo. You could go ahead and cut the pull flower, and you'd have a half a piece ready if you wanted to do a second set of the flamingos. Once we have the design off the machine, we'll play with this and see what we actually want to do. We're almost done. So Tim, do we have anything else we need to talk about this week?
The Wonder event, Pumpkin Spice.
Oh. We have a one-day event coming up. It's the Pumpkin Spice event, and in that event you'll be able to do the kitchen towel with the Grateful and the Acorn. Darling, this is chocolate brown heat press vinyl, so cute. We also will be doing a little basic wall hanging or quilt, however you want to say it. It's Darling. Isn't there one more thing with this? Oh, the mug hug that will go around your coffee cup. It's a one-day event. It's on, we're looking that up.
Friday, October 16th.
Friday, October 16th, and it's both an indoor event as well as a virtual event. So you'll be able to do it either way. And Tim, how much is it going to cost?
$119 including the kit.
It's $119 including the kit. The only thing you'll need to bring or have at home is your stabilizers and your threads. Everything else will be provided for you. So this should be a really fun class. I love this Acorn. It's gorgeous. Wow. Okay, we're almost done. This was a pretty simple design. There wasn't anything really difficult or a place where you needed to be aware of what we were doing until we get down to actually doing the chenille, which we'll do in just a couple seconds. The what? Oh, we actually showed it. Okay, so Tim, I'm going to take this off the machine. It is actually done, and lay it over here on here. And I'm going to get back out my Tula Pink duck-billed scissors, and we're just going to cut through all of this fabric.
Okay, thank you.
And notice there's 3 pieces of fabric you're cutting through, so take your time. There's no rush. Okay, now, Tim, I don't know if they can see it, but there are basting stitches right here that they actually need to take out. Just the ones around the outside. This is probably the longest piece of the whole thing, other than putting the buttons on that you're going to be doing. And don't worry about fraying the ends of the fabric, because you're going to be amazed at what we're going to do in just a second here, or a couple minutes anyways. These stitches at the top are a little tighter than the ones at the bottom, but they still come out. Okay, so once you have all of your stitches out and you can feel between each one of those little guys that they're out, I'm just checking because the chenille won't work if it's not out. Okay, once you've done that, you're going to take a pair of your scissors and you're going to cut right up the center, making sure you don't get the bottom one between each of the two sewing lines. If you're unsure about this, you can just take, this is approximately a ½ inch between the two sewing lines, so you could take a friction pin and just draw yourself a line if you want to be exact, but it doesn't really matter. You can also do these one at a time if you're not sure. I know this is probably the scariest part of the whole thing. Now you're either, in your instructions, it said to have a nail file, an emery board, to kind of get this to look like chenille. These little, I got this at the scrapbook store. These are just one of those gum erasers for scrapbooking, but check this out. Once you go over the top of this, check how that chenille fabric looks right like chenille. Okay, and you can also just use the little eraser to get all this stuff off your pillow or your bag, whatever you're doing. This design would look darling on your little girl or little granddaughter's t-shirt for next summer. Of course, it's still pretty warm here in California, so she could wear it probably all the way through November, but there you go. So with that, now all you would do is take your seam ripper and take out your basting stitches, and they'll just come right off. So they just come right out of the thing. Let me pull back over my pull flower. And your pull flowers, you just pull them together just like that, and they sit right here. You just sew right through the bag or the pillow, and that one gets the pull flowers. This one here gets our buttons, and you received 15 or 20 buttons that go in here. You can do one of two things. You can either glue them on, or you can, with a hot glue gun or adhesive tack, or you can actually sew them on one by one. So it's up to you. Once you've actually got it done, and I'm just going to set this aside, and you've pulled it out of your hoop. You've got a couple options here before you actually sew your bag back together. You can leave it exactly the way it is, lay the seams together and sew right down each side seam, and you've got a great bag. If not, you can actually cover the back with a fabric and a Warm and Natural, and actually quilt it and then sew up the edges, and then you have a quilted bag which would look darling as well. So hopefully you're going to really enjoy this particular project. Tim, did you want me to show them the buttons, or the buttons aren't really needed? So don't forget, next month we're going to be doing the pumpkin pie wrap. Also, we have the pumpkin spice event, one-day event on the 16th of October. So if you haven't signed up for that, please do so. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks. Whoops, wait. Wait. Gina has an announcement.
So for those of you who aren't aware, we have a new team member here at Kingdom. His name is Nick, and he was just working on finishing up this little mug hug to show you. So we haven't got it all flipped and pressed out, but I wanted you to see this is the cute little mug hug that you're going to make as part of that pumpkin spice event. It says stay cozy, so that's really cute as well. And also I wanted to let you know that in your project supply kit you also get this nifty little wire hanger that you can use for any of your cute little Kimberbell mini quilts. So we're excited about the event. Hope to see you there.